Here's a dish inspired by chicken rice, the national dish of Singapore with Chinese roots. Chicken rice is poached chicken served with rice that you cook in the resulting poaching liquid. I like the concept, but I'm not wild about plain poached chicken. I don't like that slimy skin. I want crispy skin or a coating of some kind, or both, which is what I'm doing here. First step is poach a whole chicken. I don't think I'm doing anything different or weird here. 3.5 pound bird goes in a big pot, 1.5 kilos. It could feed as many as 6 people with the rice. A little bit of ginger to flavor the broth. It's going to get strained out later, so no need to peel. A few sticks of lemongrass. I love that stuff. You could use some lime zest instead. About twice as much salt as I'd normally use to season a bird this size. I need enough salt for the chicken and the broth. And then just cover that bird in water, and while I'm here, I'll put in a probe thermometer to the deepest part of the breast. I'll lid that up and turn the heat on high at first just to get things going, but I don't want to see it bubbling any more than that, which is to say hardly bubbling at all. So when it looks like that, I'm going to lower my heat to where I can maintain that. Poaching is just like sous vide. The water doesn't need to be any hotter than the final internal temperature you desire on the meat. You just let the chicken slowly come to equilibrium with the water, and it will be cooked at perfect uniform doneness throughout. As you can hear, I've been sick, so that smell is very comforting. While we wait, sliced cucumbers. I've been loving the mini ones lately, but you could just use one big one. Chicken rice is usually served with an array of garnishes, one being some raw or maybe blanched cucumber, plain cucumber. Since this is just home cooking, I don't want to have to make a whole bunch of garnishes. I just want to make one garnish. So I'm going to have the cucumbers, but I'm going to put them with some kind of onion, a shallot in this case. I thought I had a fresh chili to dice up and put in here, but I couldn't find it in the fridge. And then I'm going to do just a quick pickle on those. A whole bottle of rice vinegar in there. It's not a waste. I'm going to reuse that later for my sauce. And a big handful of sugar. It doesn't matter if it doesn't dissolve at first. It will in the fridge. Since I sliced that stuff thin, it'll taste pickled by the time the chicken is cooked, which should take an hour at most. Plenty of time to scan my grocery receipt with the sponsor of this video, Fetch Rewards. Let's thank them. Fetch is this free app you download, and then whenever you buy anything, food, clothes, doesn't matter, you just take a picture of the receipt, upload it, and you get reward points back. For online shopping, you don't even have to take a picture. You literally just hit that button, and the app scans your email for any eligible e-receipts you've been sent, and then it just sends them in for you. Instantly, you get points back. The points are basically gift cards that you can redeem at almost any kind of store you could think of, or you could just get a cash card like that. Points straight into money, and all I had to do was hit the button. Try Fetch Rewards via my link in the description. Get 3,000 points when you scan your first receipt. That's a limited time offer for you. Thank you, Fetch. So this chicken, believe it or not, is done. Yes, that's just 150 Fahrenheit in the breast, 65 C, but pasteurization is a function of temperature and time. 165 Fahrenheit is the temp at which all the germs die instantly. If you hold them at a lower temperature for a while, it does the same thing. There's meat pasteurization charts you can find online. I held this at 150 for at least 10 minutes, which is very easy to do with poaching because the liquid outside is basically the same temp as the meat inside. That's why slow pasteurization works so well with the poaching or sous vide. It's way harder to hold a constant temperature when you're roasting at 400 or something. For traditional chicken rice, I think you generally plunge this into ice water. That gets you a firm, jelly-like texture on the skin. I am among the many Westerners who has trouble with that very popular texture in Eastern food, so I'm not doing it. I'll just let that cool while I bring my broth to a full boil. I want to reduce that, concentrate that flavor as much as I can before I cook my rice in it. When the chicken is cool enough to handle, I'll break it down into portions. I usually start by cutting the skin between the legs and the body, and then I just reach in and dislocate the hip joints. Now I can just put my knife in where that joint used to connect, cut down, and there's the leg and thigh quarter. Don't be freaked out by the pink. It's been pasteurized. It's safe. Plus, I'm going to cook this a second time in the oven, so I wouldn't want it to be fully done at this stage anyway. Really easy to separate the leg and the thigh, and for the wings, I like to dislocate that joint again, mainly just so I can see where I should cut. I want bone-in breast pieces today, so I'm going to shave off the backbone. I'm cutting through the rib bones there, which is easy to do when it's cooked. Hey, you know what we should do with that backbone? We can get a lot of flavor out of that before that broth is done reducing. Now I'm going to split the breast down the middle through the breastbone. Might take a little force. And then I usually like to cut each side of the breast in half as well, right through the bones. That just gets you a portion size closer to the legs and the thighs. I swear this chicken will look appetizing before we're done here. Keep faith. I'm planning to make 2 cups of dry long grain rice, so I'll need about 3 cups of liquid to cook it in. Ideally, I want to reduce this to 3 cups, though you could always add water if you reduce it too far. Strain that out, and hey, nailed it! Legit, I actually nailed that. Now, you could finish this dinner right now, or you could throw all this in the fridge and do the rest another time. 1/2 half an hour before you want to eat, start the rice. That's just 2 cups, about 400 grams at most of long grain. And I'm washing it because I'm going for the traditional East Asian fluffy rice vibe. Just rinse and pour a few times to remove the powdery free starch coat. I'll peel and finely chop some garlic and ginger. Pretty common to put aromatics in the rice for chicken rice. And if I had a lot of rendered fat from my chicken, I would cook these in the chicken fat. But I just didn't get much, so I'm going to use toasted sesame oil instead. Once those are just starting to go golden, I'll pour in my rice and toast it there dry for a minute. Same way the Italians do for risotto. This is totally a thing with chicken rice too, often done in the chicken's own rendered fat. In goes my broth. It's chunky because it's chilled. Totally fine that any fat goes in there as well. I'll stir that up, cover, and bring to a boil, then reduce my heat all the way down to low. Just let it steam covered the rest of the way. Here's my pickles, and I'm going to boil that sweet pickle juice down to a glaze. Try to be more careful than me and don't let any onions go overboard. They can burn at the temperature at which we'll be boiling the glaze. In goes a lot of soy sauce, maybe 1 part soy sauce to 2 parts pickle juice. Then I'm going to just bring this to a boil and reduce. Devotees might notice this recipe is similar to the reverse braised beef recipe that I posted recently. Indeed, when I was cooking that, it occurred to me that the same techniques might be applied to chicken rice, which is a dish that I've wanted to find my own way of doing for a while, so here we are. When bubbles start to stack on themselves like that, that's a good indication that you've reduced any sweet liquid into a syrup. It won't seem very syrupy yet, but that's because it's hot. It'll thicken a ton as it cools. And if you want it even more syrupy, or if you just want to have more glaze, you could always summon forth the upside down bear and stir in a little honey, can't hurt. Maybe more vinegar to balance it, just taste and adjust. Okay, chicken onto a sheet pan. It won't look bloody much longer. I'll give that a good splash of oil, make sure the pan and all the pieces are coated and the pieces are positioned skin side up. I want to crisp those skins under my broiler. It should just take a few minutes. And by the time the skins are crispy to the touch, the meat inside should be perfectly reheated. And then I'm going to toss those pieces straight into my glaze. This is why I didn't season those pieces before they went under the grill. That glaze is salty with the soy sauce. Here's that fragrant chickeny rice. Pile that on. It's really the main event. A couple of contrasting chicken pieces and then a big handful of the drained pickles. Any excess glaze you have, you can spoon over the top. I was not ready for how perfectly cooked that chicken turned out. Super juicy inside without having any of that gelatinous texture that pink chicken can have, and browned skin on top. Poached, then broiled. It's really the best of all worlds. Basically sous vide, but all you need is a pot. Yeah, what am I thinking trying to eat a chicken leg with a fork? Let's just do this thing.